Hello, hello, hello. Well, I'm hoping this is working because, you know, Mercury retrograde has never really bothered me in the past, but this last couple of weeks, it's just been the electronic crazy. Which brings me to this week's conversation. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning in tonight. Um, So this week, my topic is what are we going to do? And I think it's really fun that I get to bring in things from my life that are influencing me, but I think also are items, excuse me, and topics that people around the world are thinking about that I get to share with you. So last Sunday, so not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, I had no internet. It was out from the time I got up, and someone told me that it came back on about 10:30 that night, but I was already in bed because I was tired of reading that day. And then on Wednesday of the same week, I woke up and I had no power. And it made me think about what are we going to do if we have no internet. I'll just start there because that's kind of scary enough. If we have no internet, we can't use our credit cards. And okay, so where I live, there's two primary internet providers. There's Fidelity and AT&T. And so all the Fidelity customers lost their internet for the entire day. People that had AT&T were able to do stuff. And thankfully it was on a Sunday and this town kind of rolls up. And so there isn't a whole lot that happens. But if you're one of the businesses that are open on Sunday and you run your credit card processing, obviously through your computer or your terminal, and if Fidelity, the one that went down, was your provider, you were not doing business. You were doing a cash only business. But today, so many people don't rely on network TV. We have some kind of provider, usually there are internet provider, giving us television signals. Not many of us have antennas. Or you could be like me, where you rely on streaming services in order to watch TV. So no Netflix, no Hulu, no YouTube, no nothing that comes off the internet. Fortunately in my house, I have a ton of books that I can always read, so I'm safe there. But what if you're a Kindle person? If I'm not mistaken, and please correct me in the notes if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, if you buy a book off of Kindle, that if you buy a book off of Kindle, they live in the cloud. They don't download to your Kindle. And so that would be like, not doing that. Obviously you wouldn't be doing any banking because that's all digital through, computers. You wouldn't be able to do online banking. You wouldn't be able to check anything that's online, obviously. And today, if you need a phone number, if you need to recall a repair place, or you need to call, the fire department or whatever, it's not like we have phone books because we rely on the internet to give us the information and those phone numbers we need. And if you're a business, so there's credit card processing, and us being able to do a certain amount of work, and you have to go a little more manual. But what if you're a business that does all of its work on the cloud. All of your files are on the cloud. All of your software applications are on the cloud. You are just totally shut down because you wouldn't be able to access anything, and, they're, and then taking it to the next level, if there was some kind of an EMP that burned out all the electronics, it's like all of the digital records would be gone. And people are like, well, back it up to the cloud. It's like, yeah, but what if the cloud is fried? Then you're totally screwed in that way. And think I'm a weirdo. Oh, wait, you already think I'm a weirdo. But think I'm a weirdo. I have an external hard drive. I back my stuff up to it pretty regularly. Okay, obviously not every day, but if I just updated my web page, soulhealer.com. Check it out. It's got a new look and feel to it. And so I will be backing that up in case anything does happen. I have my webpage. I mean, it might be a little bit outdated, but it's better than having nothing, because I've already had that happen once before, and I had to recreate 5 web pages, and it was not fun at all. And then there's something else that's out on the horizon that falls into this whole concept commentary, and that's the whole thing with digital banking. And I'm sure you've seen stuff or heard stuff about, they're wanting all monetary transactions to be digital, which means no cash. And actually, there are businesses already that don't accept cash. I mean, I don't know about you, but cash is my friend. But if we go in that direction, that means you are totally screwed, because it's not even like you could take your cash to the store and buy something, and and maybe it costs $17 for the groceries that are in your cart, and you have a 20 and they can't make change. It's like, I would happily give them the 20 versus not getting the stuff in the cart. But if they don't take cash and it's all digital banking, I don't know. I brought a chicken. Will you trade with me? I don't know. I really don't know how that would happen. And taking that again one step further, that was just internet. We have become so reliant on internet, but what if our power went out? I had my power go out. It came back on about 10 o'clock that morning. And thankfully, it's getting to be summertime, so it was light, so I could sit and read because I really couldn't do anything else. Then what? If there's no power, in a geographic area, there's no internet. There's no nothing. Your lights don't work. If you have an electric stove, your stove isn't working. If you have electric heat, your heater isn't working. If you have air conditioning, your air conditioning isn't working. Your refrigerator isn't working. I mean, all of these things that we just take for granted aren't working. So I don't know. It was just very concerning to me, and it made me really think about what was going on. And thinking about growing up, I feel like I grew up, well, obviously in a very different generation. One of the things I learned to do as a kid was how to build a campfire, how to cook meals on a campfire, how to sterilize dishes on a campfire, how to cook. When my kids were growing up, I would try to teach them or get them to help cook, and they weren't very interested. And I was very concerned that as adults, they would just live on fast food and take out food. Thankfully, my concern was unwarranted because they both cook, which makes me very happy. But I know a lot of people that don't cook, or only cook pre-made frozen stuff. Okay, so I'm not going to talk bad about anybody, but I went to a friend's house and she was going to make pulled pork sandwiches, and I'm like, but she doesn't cook, so I wasn't quite sure how that was going to be. But I was really anxious to find out because she doesn't normally cook. And actually, she surprised me in a kind of gross way. I didn't even know you could buy this, but she had this can of like shredded pork. So it wasn't spam, it wasn't like a smoked ham product. It was shredded pork. Think of like tuna fish in a can, except it's pork. And she poured that into a pot and mixed it with barbecue sauce. And that was our pulled pork. And she was so excited because she cooked dinner. Sorry, really scary to me. But there are a lot of people out there that live that way. You know, what are you going to do if you don't have any internet? What are you going to do if you don't have any power? What are you going to do if those things that you rely on to live every day are taken away from you? Can you survive? Can you make it? Or do you have enough skill sets in order to navigate the new world that you've been placed in? I don't know. You know, so my question to you is, so what would you do? What would you do? You know, and I would invite people to respond to that question in the chat room. I'm going to be opening up the lines to answer your questions. So if you'd like to get a psychic reading or want to talk to me about anything on the planet, it could be about this, it could be about anything. You know, I just want to again thank you all for being here tonight, my Facebook peeps, my YouTube peeps. Please do again go visit my webpage, soulhealer.com. It has a new look and feel. I kind of brought it up to the 23rd century. I think you'll like it. You know, while you're there, if you want to schedule a private appointment, you can send me a message and we can set that up. Please do like my Facebook page. It's Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook. That's Dr. Rita Louise. Just look for my smiling face, not the poodle with the tinfoil hat. Dr. Rita Louise. Or you can like my YouTube page. That's Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Just Energy Radio on YouTube. You can not like it. You can subscribe to it and be notified when I post new things. And I think you'd be notified when I'm doing another live stream. Okay, so let me go to the comment thing. Let's do that and go to the comment thing. And what is this doing? No, I am just having like computer weird. I don't really understand what's going on. Stuff happening. I don't understand. Don't understand. Why did I disappear? There I am. Too weird. Okay, so Keith, I hope that I'm here now. So let's see. So hey, Keith. Hey, Shermanator Osborne. I'm sorry that the internet is your only friend. And fishing is great. I really like it a lot. It was a lot better when I had a boat. It's not as fun without the boat, but it is something that will keep you busy and going. Barb says, I'm an outdoor cooker and I will survive with no internet. But Barb, I mean, wouldn't you say that there are a lot of people that they would be strung out if they didn't have the internet and they wouldn't really know what to do with themselves? So do you guys have any questions, any comments about what I talked about? Because we can talk about anything you like because the lines are now open. And I'm going to drink. Okay. All right. Well, I think it's going to be a very slow night tonight. You know, I wish this thing let me know how many people are in here. It says there are 6 people. So if there's 6 people, hello, 6 people that I don't know where you are, but I'm saying hi to you anyway. You know, it's up there. So I'm in my upstairs office and it has a window unit air conditioner, which can be really loud. And so when I'm doing radio interviews or live streams, I try not to turn it on. And I have to tell you, in the summer, it gets pretty hot in here, which is kind of scary. But, and what will we do? What will we do with no air conditioning? Depending on where you live. Um, okay, so let's see. What can I talk about that would be interesting? Um, I have no idea. I mean, I really do rely on people coming for me to have things to talk about. So I am going to go like find something to talk about because it's very quiet. Uh, I don't know. Okay. Yay, Barb. Thank you guys for saving me. Okay. Barb says, all right. My son is having trouble with coping with life. I finally stopped enabling him and gave him up to the universe, and it felt so enlightening. My question is, will he ever find himself? Good question, Barb. This is going to sound terrible. I mean, I feel like he actually is starting to make some changes and thinking about what all he's supposed to do. But the sad part is that I feel like in order to relieve the tension and discomfort he is experiencing, he is just going to find someone to take your place. And that sounds really awful, but that's what I'm feeling. I mean, that is kind of predicting the future a little bit. I do feel like he did have a bit of a light bulb go off in his head. Um, but then there's actually doing the work of making the changes. And I feel like maybe not. I, I don't know. Did that make sense? Please let me know if that made sense. Okay. Hey, Keith. Yeah, I'm here. I really don't know where I was. Some other dimension. It seems like I've been in some other dimension lately, but I'm not. I'm back. Okay. So Susan. Hey, Keith. Okay. Hey, so we have a Sue Berlin and we have a Susan Berlin. I wonder if they're like the same people with two different logins. So Sue, I will come back to pyramids. If you had a more specific question, that would really help me. So Susan, I'm not really sure what you mean by will I ever get sorted? I mean, when I think of sorted, I think of like laundry. So if you could kind of clue me in on what you're meaning, that would be great. And so Barb came back. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this. Man, I'm just like not comprehending. So Barb came back and said, yes, because he's looking for someone to help him. Thanks. My hope, Barb, is that he doesn't find someone and he has to, like the universe forces him to figure it out. But he's going to look for the easy road. And the easy road is to find someone to help him, which usually means a girlfriend that he just kind of gets to do everything for him. And I'm sure there are women out there that will be more than happy to do that. Sad as that is to say. Okay. So Susan, not Sue, but Susan, wanted, will I ever get sorted out? And then she wrote, I'm in a mess. Okay, Susan, let's see what you have going on. So, Susan, when I look at your energy, the first thing you're showing me is that you live a life with a lot of anxiety. I get the impression that it's really challenging for you to ground. I get the impression that your brain is always full with all of these things you're supposed to do. And it's almost like it's moving too fast for you to go, this is what I want, or this is the direction I should be going, because it's like nonstop information and chatter, and it's really hard for you to tap into anything. You know, if a car is going by at 120 miles an hour, it's really hard to identify what kind of car it is, who's in the car, et cetera, versus if it's going 10 miles an hour. You know, so if you have any tools you could work with, if you meditate, if you know how to ground yourself, if you uh, do tapping or Reiki, or know someone that you could work with that can help you slow down everything inside. I feel like that would really help you um, be able to unwind what's going on. Like I said, I just feel like everything is going way too fast for you to navigate the world and what's going on. So I hope that helps. And if you need me to clarify a little bit more, just, post a follow-up question. All right, great. Oh, she said thank you. So I guess that's good. Good. I'm glad that that helps, Susan. All right. So, hey, Brea, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Um, okay. So, Brea, I don't know what SSDI means. Um, so, so it sounds like you got a lot of waiting going on, but if you could post what the SSDI means, then I will respond to that. Oh, that's what I thought, but I wasn't quite sure. Okay. Okay, hang on. Let me kind of take a look. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the disability insurance. So I feel like eventually you will get it, but it's a government organization and you haven't complained enough, and you haven't whined enough, and you haven't turned in enough paperwork, and they haven't rejected you enough, and for you to finally be in that final area. I mean, I feel like you'll get accepted eventually, but they're just dragging, and don't I just don't feel like it's going to be like next week or anytime particularly soon. And I kind of am feeling, I don't really predict the future, but I kind of am feeling like they're going to reject it, or they're going to want some additional information. Like there's going to be something that comes back from them that you're going to have to submit or resubmit or whatever before you get any kind of final approval on that. Like there's going to be some kind of communication from them that's going to seem negative, and it'll appear that way, but do it and it'll be a done deal. Okay. Genealogy business. How fun is that? Um, so I see your passion for like doing that kind of work and doing the research and looking around and touching everything. Where I don't really see the passion is in reaching out to people and and getting their money. How's that? So I offer a medical intuition, intuitive counseling, and energy medicine training program. And in the energy medicine program, which is like the second of 4 modules, students are required to charge the people they're working on money. So some of the sessions, the recommended minimum charge is $5. And if you do like a full Reiki session, which usually takes about an hour to do, I recommend that they charge $20. And you would be surprised how hard it is for some people to ask for that $5 or ask for that $20 for an hour's worth of their time. I mean, today, $5 doesn't even buy you a Starbucks latte. They're more than that. You can't get into the movies. And so asking somebody to pay you $5 for a 15 minutes, 10 or 15-minute session, um, is a bargain. It's a bargain. And, usually you ask your friends, and having friends that just don't want to support you in that way is just mean. Maybe you shouldn't have them as friends. Anyway, and I feel like you're kind of hitting that same energy, the whole marketing, take money, fear part. And that for a lot of people can really be a showstopper, getting in the way of moving forward, you know. So I think once you address your fears and open yourself up to receiving the benefit of your background and knowledge and skill in doing genealogy for other people, that will help move the business forward. I hope that helps. Okay. So Kit, hey Kit, she said, wait, let's see, let's click. I've been having chronic fatigue since last year. I'm not sure if it's connected with stress, long COVID, thyroid. Damn, girl, you got like a list, low hormones or something else. Do you have any suggestions to get my energy back? Okay, so I'm going to take a look at most of this. You know, it is really easy to have your hormone levels tested, but I'll take a look. Okay, so Kit. Uh, well, I'm going to go with maybe stress, maybe none of the above. Um, so, one of the things you're showing me, or one of the primary things you're showing me, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like there's a little battle going on inside of you. There's the things that you're supposed to do, and then there's what you want to do, which is really not much. I feel like there's a piece of you that really needs to have your time, your space, a long term vacation. I feel like you went through, so this is kind of past tense or a little more past tense, this whole long extended period of like being on hyperdrive. And then you got a chance to kind of turn it off, and there's a big part of you that doesn't want to turn it back on. And so I feel like that's where the conflict is between you and I'm going to say your ego. Um, so maybe it's time to spend, to do some reflecting to identify what you really want to do and see if you can start bringing those things into your life. Um, one other thing that I'm going to recommend, and if you went to the doctor, they could test it and they were like, oh, your cortisol levels are up. I feel like you did have some pretty good adrenal burnout. And so doing things to support your adrenal glands to help feed them and nurture them and bring them back into balance and alignment, I think that will help. But that's kind of a longer term thing for you, versus, to get that part of your body back online and functioning appropriately, again. And if you went to the doctor and they're like, oh, your cortisol levels are too high, don't ever take a medication that they maybe would recommend. Okay. So if that makes sense, please let me know. If you have a follow-up, please put that below. Susan, you are very welcome. Susan said, thank you. Okay, not sure. All right, this is Barb. Hang on, Barb. All right, this is not a. All right, she put, I misplaced some meds, looked for 2 days. My friend came over and I told her I went into rebook and they were there. What? What do you think about an alternative universe? Um, so my late husband used to go, well, you're always going to find the stuff you're missing the last place you look. And it's always true. I don't know about an alternative universe, although I feel like I've been living in an alternate, like in and out of an alternative universe. So this happened today. So I was heating up some dinner, because I made some food and I had leftovers. So I was heating that up. And I opened the microwave and there was like a bowl of, it was stew. I had made stew sitting in the microwave. I was a little dumbfounded. It's like, wow, I put it in the microwave and then apparently never ate it, never thought about it, because it had a little bit of mold on it. So it had been in there. Well, actually, it had been in there since like Thursday of last week. But and that seems to me, and I would love to hear other people that are in the chat room, if this is happening to you too, because sometimes there's something going on in my life, but when I start asking around, I find out that it's actually going on with a lot of people and it's not just me. And so it makes you stop and go, well, maybe it's a bigger situation going on. But I can't remember Jack. I mean, if I'm working on something, that's good, but I'll sit there and be like, oh, well, did I put the garbage out? Wait, let me go look, because I can't remember. But if I was going to put it out, it would have been that day. I mean, misplacing things, just not knowing anything. Um, and so Barb says it's been happening to me a lot. So I don't know, like I only had COVID once and I never got the vaccine. And so, but I have been working on a detox lately just in case, because it really is a bit annoying, um, this whole thing. And you're right, but it really has been this past year, maybe almost 2 years, that it makes me kind of sad that I got rid of my card line, because, there are times that I'll put my phone down and I, spend 20 minutes looking for it, only to find that it's on the coffee table where I left it. Yeah. Anyway. Um, okay, so let's see. Um, so Kit said, this is about her whole list of questions. Yes, you hit it. I do have almost flatline adrenals and low hormones, but I think it's stress that flared all that. Okay, so Kit, in order to have flatline adrenals, that usually means that there has been long-term chronic stress in your life, and then your body just gets to the point where it's like, screw you, I'm not going to work anymore, and you have to feed them and recharge them, so, it's not today's stress, it is the underlying stress that you have lived with your whole life. And then there are the moments that bring stress into your life where you actually can acknowledge and recognize the stress. But usually it's like, people that have adrenal issues, usually it's like they live their life with their stress level being at about a 6, and then something happens and it might take their stress level up to a 7, 8, 9, 12, and that might last a couple of weeks, a couple of months, whatever the situation is, but it only ever goes back to the 6. Or if it's a really stressful situation, maybe it doesn't even go back to 6. Maybe it goes down back to 6.5, and it's those people that end up with the adrenal fatigue. So just kind of setting a stage for that. Okay, and then she put, I'm going through a battle internally and I don't want to do anything anymore. I do need a vacation. Thanks for that validation. Yeah, Kit, I just feel like like there's what your body is doing, but I feel like you are emotionally done. You're just done. And so honor that and recognize that and just do the things that bring you joy, And I mean, obviously, your bathroom has to get cleaned periodically, blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to live your whole life taking care of everybody else. Your focus needs to be on you and doing things that are loving to you. Okay? All right. Okay, Shermanator says he's bad that way too, so I guess he's been like losing all kinds of stuff. Okay, Barb, I don't know what that means. So Barb said, also, I've been fatuous this past year. All right, don't know. Okay, we got an anti-vaxxer. We got another anti-vaxxer. Hey, Bradley. I don't know what you're laughing about, but hey. Alrighty. All right, so I think it was Barb or somebody that brought up pyramids somewhere back here, fishing, blah, blah, blah. All right, I'm just going to talk about pyramids because, uh, oh, oh, oh. All right, so Barb said that, all right, hang on a second. Where'd you go, Barb? That she's had fatigue as well this past year. And I'm going to just make this kind of global commentary. Um, there was the whole COVID thing and people getting sick and whatever. And then there was the emotional energy tied to that whole situation, and the stress and whatever that was tied to that whole situation. And in my opinion, um, it traumatized a lot of people. It traumatized all of us. If you're walking around and you're just living in fear, and I went to this festival. It was the Celtic festival locally here, and it was an outdoor event. But it was an outdoor event, and when I got there, my allergies kicked in, and I am just hawking up a lung there. But they had just opened up events, outdoor things, and I'm walking around like, don't got COVID, don't got COVID, allergies, allergies, allergies. Um, because people were in so much fear. But when you're in fear, it's burning the candle at both ends, meaning your adrenal glands. And so that's one thing that I recommend to just about everyone is to do things to support your adrenals, do things to support your releasing of your trauma. Um, and spending time figuring out what you want and who you are and where you want to go, because those are the things that help rebuild you. But one of the other things that took a really big hit is our relationships. Before COVID, I was going out all the time. I had a good circle of friends that we would at least meet up. Maybe I didn't really do anything all that exciting, but we would at least meet up, and that hasn't really ever come back, so, and we're social creatures, and when we lose those kind of connections with people, it's really different talking on the phone or having Facebook friends versus interacting with people live and in person. And I think that that's had a detrimental effect on us as well. And so when we're not happy on the inside, regardless of what that is, one of the ways it'll manifest is as fatigue or crankiness or something like that. Okay, let's see. Let's see, Bradley. Oh, sorry, Brea. So Brea had asked before, and I like totally spaced. If you get a chance, you see my husband getting his green card. Okay, so hopefully this won't get me kicked off of Facebook or YouTube, but I'm just going to say something very politically incorrect. But he could just go to Mexico and walk across the border, and you could get all kinds of benefits. Just saying, not out loud. So you didn't hear me. Um, where I feel like he's a good candidate to get it, but um, I don't know if he's here on a visa or what that piece of status is. But I feel like you're going to have your disability before that's going to happen. I just feel like that process is really going to drag on, um, and not really a whole lot of forward movement happening. There's just too much going on in that area. Um, but I don't feel like he's going to have to go anywhere. So, that part's good. So, or you could take my other piece of advice. All right, let's see. Okay, so Barb and Bradley, I'm not going to make your comment. So Barb says, I never stopped working and I traveled all over the South. I met a lot of people with who anti-vax and they never stopped hanging out. But up north with family and friends, they all stayed in and freaked out. Exactly. Um, I mean, even in the South, I mean, I live in Texas. Um, there were people freaking out. Not everybody on the planet, but there were people freaking out. So during COVID, when they had stuff locked down, because I had my boat then, I had a boyfriend and we had a boat until he sold it. Anyway, and so that was one of the main things we did was we went fishing. And the funniest thing was is that we would be on our boat. Hang on. So this is why I never bring my phone in here except for today, and a phone call comes through. Um, so we are out on the boat and on a big lake. I mean, it's not like we were in a harbor or anything. And there are people, they had to have been 20 yards away, maybe more. I don't know, but we could see them in their boat with masks on. I mean, what are the fish going to get them? I, I don't know. Don't know. Don't want to know. So Brace clarified and put that her boyfriend, husband is Australian. And I don't really think that it has to do with where he's coming from. I think it has to do with the whole immigration nightmare that's going on in the United States right now, and that whole process is just jammed up. So I would just be patient. I wouldn't worry about it. It's going to happen, but um, not in your time. It will happen in Uncle Sam's time. So Yvonne said, New York sucks, so we're talking more COVID, but my people met outside during AA meetings every day. So that's really cool, Yvonne. Um, yeah, I mean, most of my family is in New York and they were like going crazy, but I mean, I don't live in Dallas, but I go to Dallas pretty regular and they were kind of freaked out. I mean, they had stores where they would let X number of people in. I mean, granted, they weren't giant stores, they were more like boutique kind of stores. And it's like, and they would let like 5 people in, and you had to have a mask. And they had a security guard, and some of them had like burly security guards standing at the door, making sure if 2 people came out, 2 people could go in. If one person came out, only one person could go in. And I'm like, oh my God, that was just crazy, 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 crazy. And yes, Plandemic was an excellent movie, and I think it's free to stream online. So Barb says, I love seeing the car drivers with masks on. Yeah. And Brea says, thanks, miss seeing you in Dallas. I do come to Dallas, but I don't do the Wellness Expo anymore. So haven't done that in years. So you just need to come to East Texas. Here, I'll do a pitch. So in East Texas, specifically in Jefferson, Texas, the first Saturday in November, so it's like the Saturday after Halloween, as well as the first weekend in October or April, something like that, but it's April. So first Saturday in November and one Saturday in April is the History Haunts and Legends Conference. History Haunts and Legends Conference in spooky Jefferson, Texas, which is like a total destination place and a really fun, cool place to go. So if you haven't ever gone, you should go to that event, and I will be there because I'm always there. And you get to go to Jefferson and stay in maybe a haunted hotel or haunted bed and breakfast. That's cool. Okay. All right. So that put fear porn for hundreds of years. You know, I love that term, fear porn. I used it on one of my doctors, and she was not, um, she didn't like it all that well. I had to explain it to her. You were. So Brea said that she was born in Marshall. Well, see, then you probably even know where I live, and I'm not going to tell you, but if you saw a picture of my house, you would be like, oh, I know that place. Well, see, because that's where I am is Marshall. Um, okay, well, Yvonne, thank you for stopping in, and you have a great night. All right, anybody else have any questions for me? Okay, so let's see. So the question was brought up about, well, it wasn't really a question. It was just, Brea, you be blessed too. Was about pyramids. So, so this is my take on pyramids, and actually things that were. Oh, hey, Kit, I know you. We actually met in person. Um, they are great, and actually, there's so much stuff going on in Jefferson now. The Bigfoot conference, um, the gun show, the important gun show. Um, I don't know. There's just always stuff going on there now, which is just really great to have in my backyard. So, well, I am in the yoga class, the Wednesday night yoga class. Okay. So Barb says, this is a question for my friend Amanda. Will her and her guy make it after he gets out of jail? Okay. So this is my commentary to Amanda. Even as I speak right now, I feel like she has some trust issues with her guy. Um, there's the whole jail thing, but I feel like there were some trust issues before that going in, or maybe this whole thing was a big surprise. Um, and I feel like when he gets out, it's just not going to feel right to her. Now, there are a lot of people, especially women, that will stay because they think they're in love or they think this is what I should be doing, but I don't feel like she's comfortable. And I don't feel like she would be able to open herself up and be vulnerable to him in the way that she was before. And so my recommendation is for her to, I'm not saying don't re-engage with him, but to do it with her eyes wide open, and and move in carefully, and not have the expectation that it's going to go back to how it was prior to him going into jail, because it's not going to be the same. and she needs to recognize that up front so she can be emotionally prepared for what may or may not happen. So Kit says, yes, you're in my yoga class. I'm like, but you're not Christy. Okay. Okay, so Leanne says, hello, Leanne, you have a question? We have about 5 more minutes before I'm going to wrap it up here. Oh, you're welcome, Barb. I hope that makes sense about your friend, but I really do hope that, she keeps this guy a little bit at arm's distance um, before totally embracing him back into her life. Okay, so Leanne wants to know, have I met the guy I will marry? So Leanne, and you're right there, could you just type his first name in for me? I kind of feel like there's the energy of several men around you, and I would like to pick the right one to answer this question for you. Do, 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 do. Hey, you know what I just noticed? I know. So, all right. So that's kind of all right. I'll look at Steven, but if you're sitting there talking to a bunch of guys and you haven't really got serious, it's really almost impossible to answer that question because there's not any energy. And after that, it is really just kind of predicting the future, which, to me, on a lot of levels is a bunch of bull. So anyway, so let's see, Steven. So I get the impression that Steven is a little bit emotionally unavailable. Um, and I'm kind of getting like a dual thing with him, unless there's two guys that are kind of trying to jump in to this reading at the same time. One piece that I'm getting is that he's kind of withdrawn and kind of like a bookworm type. But then there's this other piece that he's just kind of insecure. Um, and insecure and immature, so I don't know if that insecurity and immaturity, which is the more problematic part, um, start coming to the surface the more you get to know him. um, I mean, I'm not really feeling his energy for you. How's that? I think you would just get bored. That's my take on him. All right, Miss Barb, thank you for stopping in and visiting. I hope you come back next week, even if it's just to hang out and throw in your 2 cents. Okay. Okay. So I feel one is, but it's long distance. That's why I'm asking. And again, Leanne, I'm not. So, Leanne, it's like you're asking me to predict the future, and no, I don't feel. If you throw a whole bunch of stuff into a pile and go, well, which one is mine? It's almost impossible, because there's not any connection, it's just these people, so I can't, I'm just being real and I'm being honest, I can't really answer that question, without me just lying to you. And I won't lie to you, so when you have some kind of connection with any person in particular, maybe come back and I'll be more than happy to respond. But just throwing a blanket question out like that, yeah, thank you. Thank you for understanding. Anyway, well, it's getting to be that time. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you all showing up. Great questions tonight. I hope you all will come back next week because I will be here on vacation. before, if just remember, if you want to schedule a private consultation, please visit my web, the new and improved webpage, soulhealer.com, and drop me a note and I will get right back to you. Or like my Facebook page, Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook, Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that's Just Energy Radio on YouTube. So until next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. Be blessed.